Now, this is an interesting question, folks. Ladies and gentlemen, you're not tuning in to Punch Drunk Boxing, aka Mr. Moonshine himself. Ring Magazine asked a question. Which canceled boxing match do you wish happened? Now, you see in the screen right now, Manny Pacquiao versus Earl the True Spence. Manny Pacquiao at the time had the WBA world title, and Earl Spence had the IBF and the WBC world title. Terence Bud Crawford had the WBO. You already know Manny Pacquiao, the 8th Division World Champion, 5-time lineal, 12-time World Champion, the Ambassador, the Senator, the Humanitarian, the greatest karaoke singer of them all, the GOAT, Manny Pacquiao, was stepped inside the ring after Earl Spence fought Mikey Garcia. But Manny Pacquiao decided to fight Keith Von Tom Thurman. He beat Keith Von Tom Thurman, and Keith Von Tom Thurman at the time was regarded the best welterweight, the number one welterweight at the time, arguably, right? Injury took a toll and things of that nature, but in the end, and Manny Pacquiao, he went on a break. Earl Spence took over, right? So, yeah, a lot of people wanted to see at that time a unification between Earl Spence and Terence Bud Crawford, but everybody was chasing, even Terence Bud Crawford was chasing Manny Pacquiao as well. So Earl Spence had the opportunity to face Manny Pacquiao, and it was scheduled, and then Earl Spence did not pass the physical because he needed to get eye surgery, right? So Denis Ugas was last-minute replacement. Ugas beat Manny Pacquiao, and then later on, Earl Spence beat Ugas, but never got the opportunity to fight Earl the Truth. Earl Spence never got the opportunity to fight Manny Pacquiao. So, but that was one of the fights. And I think it would have been a very entertaining fight because Earl Spence he sit on his punches, he go toe to toe. That Earl Spence, he was brought up from a Mexican trainer, so he fights like a Mexican, bro. And you already know Manny Pacquiao always goes out there and entertain the fans. That would have been an incredible matchup, in my opinion. But another matchup that I wanted to see. Talking about ex-opponent of a former opponent of Manny Pacquiao, Keith One Tom Thurman versus Marcos Maidana. Now, if you see, Marcos Maidana was supposed to fight Keith One Tom Thurman before he did fight Adrian Broner. Adrian Broner had the world title after Adrian Broner did beat Paulie Malignaggi. And y'all remember that Keith One Tom Thurman was heavily dunked around that time because, remember, he beat Diego Chavez, won the WBA interim, and that's when he was calling out Paulie Malignaggi. Remember the infamous "Don't Duck Me, Son"? Paulie Malignaggi didn't fight Keith Thurman. He fought Adrian Broner. Adrian Broner won. Then Adrian Broner didn't fight Keith Von Tom Thurman. Maidana and his team felt that better opportunity to fight Keith Von Tom, Adrian Broner, who was more of a star around that time. Maidana beats Adrian Broner. Then Maidana gets the Mayweather fight, make a good count of himself. They had a rematch, and still Keith Thurman never got the opportunity to actually win the WBA world title. The first time that he won in a championship belt in the ring was fighting Danny Swift Garcia in that infamous unification bout on CBS primetime. Another fight that I wanted to see, one of my favorite fighters before he got injured, Paul Williams versus Canelo Alvarez. That was a schedule bout that I truly wanted to see. And around that time, you already know that Paul Williams was one of the most exciting fighters of that generation. For real, man. He could have been something else, man. I was sad about the motorcycle accident. But that would have been a good fight in Mexican Independence Weekend. Canelo Alvarez is still rising. Canelo Alvarez is still proving himself as an elite fighter. And Paul Williams, it was a great opportunity for both fighters at that time. Another fight that a lot of people wanted to see in the heavyweight division was Larry Holmes versus George Foreman. That would have been an incredible fight that needed to take place in the heavyweight division. Now, of course, there was other fights in the heavyweight division that we wanted to see, but never was scheduled. We did want to see Riddick Bowe versus Lennox Lewis for the real undisputed heavyweight championship of the world. that fight should have happened. There's other fights that we wish that would have happened that never was scheduled, like Marquez versus Morales. That's a fight that, of course, the Mexican fans did wanted to see. In the 154-pound division, a lot of people always want to criticize one of my favorite fighters, Demis Andre, for not fighting Jamel Charlo. That was a scheduled fight that we wish would have happened in the 154-pound division. Also, a fight that I wanted to see in the middleweight division, Canelo Alvarez versus Demetrius Andre. There wasn't a negotiations, but there was never nothing scheduled. But in this sense, we're just talking about what was scheduled. So my 4 fights that I just coming out the dome was the ones that I just said. I like the fight that Ring Magazine did have there. Manny Pacquiao and Earl Spence. But me personally, I'm a Keith Thurman fan. I wanted to see Keith Thurman versus Marco Maidana. And put it this way, if Keith Thurman would have faced Marco Maidana and Marco Maidana never would have had to face Adrian Broner and did that to Adrian Broner, maybe the downfall of Adrian Broner never would have been, a thing. He still would have been rising, maybe, because I think a lot of people feel like that Maidana was the thing that really ended Broner. That's a fight that I wanted to see. But Paul Williams and Canelo Alvarez is probably my major fight as well. Let me know in the comment section, what is the fight that was scheduled that never took place that you would wish it would have happened? I like that question from Ring Magazines. About time they provide something that, I really want to talk about. But let me know what y'all think, man. Y'all already know this is Punch Drunk Boxing. Subscribe to the channel, smash the like button, put in the comment section what other fights. There's a lot of fights. What about Zab Judah? I think that Zab Judah versus Mosley, that would have been a fight as well. A rematch that we all wanted to see. It never was scheduled, but a rematch I did wanted to see was Oscar De La Hoya versus Tito Trinidad. Even Oscar De La Hoya and Flo Mayweather, I wanted to see that fight as well. Let me know what y'all think, man. Subscribe to the channel, smash the like button. Love you, God bless, and on to the next.